Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
He's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in! Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday, working towards the weekend. Hope y'all are staying dry and safe out there. And overnight into this morning was not really pleasant for a lot of folks south of I-10 in the state of Louisiana, so I hope everybody is doing okay. Appreciate you being with us. We got a ton to get to over the next 2 hours. I can't even fit everything into the show today, which is a rarity in late June, but it's the case today. We'll talk Saints with Luke Johnson at 1:15. They wrapped up their mandatory minicamp this week. Kellen Moore's met with the media, obviously Cam Jordan as well, so we'll talk to Luke in 15 minutes about the black and gold. We'll go to Omaha, Nebraska at 1:30. Joe Healy generally with us on Thursdays. Gave him last week off. It was media day. That's a circus up there at Charles Schwab Field, but they got a couple days off there in Omaha before we get the title series underway, so we'll talk about that with Joe at 1:30. U.S. Open is underway from Shinnecock up there in New York. Baseball America's got a really, really, really interesting story about the new Major League Baseball collective bargaining push, and it involves college baseball in a huge way. So we'll discuss a little bit of that. John Blau is going to join us at 2 o'clock. You probably don't know who John Blau is. You will. John Blau is the new LSU beat writer for The Advocate. He comes, interestingly, from the Clemson beat. So we're going to talk to John about why he decided to come down here, what he's learned in a very, very short period of time here in Baton Rouge. And really, I want to get his thoughts on Dabo Swinney's program because he's followed it very, very closely for the last few years there. And, of course, LSU will open with Clemson. So going to get John on in an hour from right now. Lane Kiffin spoke with Tyrann Mathieu. We'll get to some of that right now and in hour number 2. And Kellen Moore with the media yesterday. Get into a little bit of that. So as you can see, we got plenty to do. Let's dive in. It's our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
It goes without saying at this point that LSU's on a bit of a heater on the recruiting trail. We're writing a story on every commitment as they come on LouisianaSports.net, and I feel like I'm chained to my desk. They get a commitment every 25 minutes is what it feels like at this point. It's been just an absolute rush on high-level players for LSU football from the high school ranks. And when everyone was discussing Lane Kiffin's decision to leave Ole Miss for LSU, one of the defenses of Lane Kiffin doing that, and there were very few defending Lane Kiffin, but one of the defenses was LSU is a better place to recruit to, generally speaking. That doesn't mean you can't get great players to Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin did. He got a lot of great players to Ole Miss. Most of them were in the transfer portal, but he got a lot of great players to Ole Miss. But LSU has churned out NFL players, has recruited blue-chip recruits, has landed high-end transfers now for 25 years at the highest level of college football. And it's just a brand and a geographical footprint that is conducive to landing big names. And Lane Kiffin has capitalized on that in just 7 months on the job. I looked at this. This is objective data when you consider it's a subjective process, but this is data over 5 years at Ole Miss from the class of 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 5 signing classes at Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin landed 1 5-star recruit, according to 1-3, Suntaran Perkins. And he's great, but 1. At LSU, he got signatures from Richard Anderson and Lamar Brown right when he got here. In-state guys. That's 2 5-stars. And in this class, Ahmad Hudson's committed. He's a 5-star. KJ Green is committed. 247 Sports calls him a 5-star. And you got Chris Whitehead yesterday, who won the 247 composite, is a 5-star. So in 7 months, Lane Kiffin has either signed or gotten commitments from 5 5-stars, and that doesn't count the one you lost to Miami. So 5 5-stars in 7 months against 1 in 5 years. It's just a little bit different game here. That's not going to satisfy the folks that say you can never, under any circumstance, leave a team that's headed to the college football playoff, and that's fine. But if you're just looking at this from a recruiting perspective, one of the reasons we thought that he might jump for LSU, it's starting to pay off. And Kiffin went on to Tyrann Mathieu's podcast that you can find wherever you find your podcasts, and they had a good conversation. It covered a lot of different topics, and recruiting was one of them. And Tyron asked him about how the portal has impacted high school recruiting. Here was Lane's response.
Still, you want to build your core team through high school, especially when you're at a place like LSU and you can get the great players. And so you build it the old-fashioned way, and then you supplement through the portal. You don't want to not do any portal because you don't miss on those guys near as much. So follow this. In the NFL, they miss all the time, right? Right. And they have all that resources to evaluate them. They have all the college games, and you still miss. So we certainly know that we miss a lot in high school recruits over the years. Well, in the portal, you're going to miss less because now you've seen them in college games. You've seen them maybe if you're taking SEC guys, so you miss less. So you do still want some portal guys because normally those guys are pretty sure bets for the most part, like they're going to be what you see, where high school, there's still so many variables.
And look, I agree with that sentiment. I still believe in the transfer portal era where you can go get Sam Levitt and you can go get, name your big-time contributor in the transfer portal. There's a bajillion of them. You can go get Jordan Seaton. You can go get a lot of different players all over the field to help you for a year. But I still contend you need Whit Weeks in the program. You need Will Campbell in the program. You need Malik Neighbors in the program. You need to go get those guys. You need to have guys that are in your program for 3 years that you develop in your system that blossom into the players you're looking for. You need to land DJ Pickett and put him in your secondary for 3 years. That, to me, is important. You've got to supplement. You've got to do both. But the high-end, Louisiana especially guy, you need to land. You need Trey Green here for 3 years. That's a big deal. And so it's just a better place to recruit than Ole Miss was. Because in Mississippi, you're still fighting off LSU. You're still fighting off Alabama. You're still fighting off Mississippi State. In LSU, in Louisiana, you're fighting those guys off, but you've got a leg up more often than not. And I think that is being evidenced early on. You're not winning any games by getting commitments in June. No one is suggesting you are. But landing them, I think, is an important step in building great football teams. And Kiffin spoke about how they present themselves in recruiting on Tyron's podcast.
We just are who we are. When kids come here, families come here, like we are who we are. Like you don't get this show on recruiting. I think a lot of places present themselves one way in recruiting. And then when you get there, you're like, dang, that's not what I saw. Like the coaches acted this way. And then we got there and it's totally different. Now they're yelling at us. And so we just present who we are. I mean, it's pretty laid back, but it's like, hey, what you see is what you get. We have very low transfer rates of players that are playing. Because when you come here, you're not going, dang, man, like you're not calling your mom going, this ain't what they did on the recruiting weekend. Man, this is totally, or they promised me this, but I didn't get this. So I tell our coaches all the time, don't make promises, man, just tell them you're going to get a chance to play, compete to start, but you're going to have to earn it. Because otherwise you get in those promises and then the locker room starts going, well, he told me this, he told me that. We just are who we are.
And what I gathered from that, because he talked about having a low transfer rate. He hasn't had time to have guys transfer out of LSU. He hasn't been here. So he's talking about what they did at Ole Miss in recruiting there. So what I gathered from that soundbite was that they're recruiting the same way at LSU, the same methodology that they did in Oxford. And you just saw that I rattled off the change in results from the high-profile players. Not only are they landing these in-state kids, you're getting Richard Anderson, you're getting Lamar Brown, you're getting Ahmad Hudson, but they're also going out of the state to Virginia to get Chris Whitehead. They've gone into Florida and gotten a 5-star commitment. It flipped, but you earned it. You've gone to the East Coast. Like, you have gone out and used LSU's brand both locally and nationally to attract higher profile talent in Baton Rouge in a short time than you did Ole Miss. And you're not changing anything that you did, is essentially what I'm drawing from that. And that's really the point. I made this proclamation a couple of weeks ago. It got onto social media and it got a little bit of traction, but I believe this to be true. And I don't think this is an earth-shattering take, but I do believe it to be true. Lane's never going to win over the people in Oxford. But if he wants to win over the people nationally, he's going to have to win huge, and Ole Miss is probably going to have to flop. And if that happens, then everyone nationally will be forced to look at this and go, well, That was really unfortunate timing when he jumped ship in December of a championship level team. But he really was propping Ole Miss up, and the ceiling really was higher at LSU. That's the only way he's going to seek the approval for the decision that he seeks. And I believe he seeks that because he's gone out and said as much in the media. He's attempted to justify his departure from Oxford. He doesn't have to do that to anyone here in Louisiana and in Baton Rouge. Everyone here is throwing their arms around him. They love it. It's fantastic. This is a national discussion. It's not an LSU discussion. But he seeks the approval of those nationally. And he's going to have to win huge and win a national championship to get that done. And he believes that. Jordan will play number 11 here in a second. But he believes they'll get that done. It's the only way to justify what he did to those nationally. I'm fine with it as is. So are you if you're listening to the show, I'm assuming. But the only way he's going to justify it nationally is if they win huge, and this is Kiffin talking about national championships.
I don't know how fast it's going to happen. We're going to win a national championship. We're going to have the teams and the rosters back to the way that they were playing when they were great. I don't know how fast. That might not be today, right. But it's going to happen, and I feel it in recruiting too. When these kids come in here, and now that we got our staff fully here, and we know how to sell LSU too, because now we're meeting up people and know the restaurants and the areas and the people. Like, it's 101.
Yeah.
What Nick Saban said. Yeah. It's the best job in America.
You're starting to sense a little bit of that. Now look, it's June. It is June. They go 7-5 this year. We're going to be singing a different tune around here, okay? I understand how all this works. I know where we are in the calendar. But you're looking at a lot of 5 stars jumping in the boat. You're looking at a really good crop of Louisiana kids they've got a chance to hit on. And that's really the point, is accumulating talent. And once you do that, he's shown he can coach it. Blake Baker has shown he can coach it. And you'll knock on that door enough times to beat it down. And he thought there was a better chance to do that here than Oxford. You can't prove that 7 months in June. But if you're just looking for breadcrumbs that are headed that direction, this is it. Doesn't mean it's locked in. Doesn't mean it's set in stone. But these are the breadcrumbs you're looking for. LSU doing some work on the high school recruiting trail. There is no doubt about that. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Let's talk some Saints next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com. If you're in South Louisiana, you got a lot of rain. You're maybe still getting a little bit of rain right now. If you've got a leak issue or you feel like this is the storm that exposed, you may need to get your roof looked at. Let the folks at Lifetime Roofing do it. Because there will be some roofing companies that may go up there, see a small issue, think, I could do a repair, but they'll pay me more if we get the whole roof put in. Let's recommend that. Can't have it. You got to be able to trust your roofer. And you can trust the folks at Lifetime Roofing. They'll go up there, inspect your roof. If you need a new roof, they'll tell you. If you just need a repair, they'll handle it. Maybe it's all good and you just need a fortification to get ready for storm season. It's obviously here. Just had our first named one roll through. Make sure you're proactive and not reactive. Call the folks at Lifetime Roofing. Check them out online at lifetimeroofingla.com and realize they come with a lifetime workmanship warranty on that craftsmanship as well as the materials. It's Lifetime Roofing. Find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
At Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer, we know you deserve value when you purchase equipment. Right now, take advantage of the powerful 3025E tractor for just $297 a month with 0% financing for 72 months. Tractor packages with a trailer also available. Whether you're tackling land, property, or projects, get your job done. Don't wait. This offer ends June 30th, 2026. Some restrictions apply. Visit sunequip.com or stop by a Sunshine location today.
Box combo for George. I see you, Luis. Food's on the way.
Please don't. Hey, you know you can use your hands, right?
Got those box combos for you. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim, which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Got some really interesting proposals from Major League Baseball that could drastically reshape college baseball. We'll talk about that coming up in 30 minutes. We'll go to Omaha in 15 minutes, talk to Joe Healy from D1 Baseball about the College World Series final. It'll be Oklahoma and North Carolina for it all starting on Saturday night. Let's talk some Saints. Luke Johnson joins us on Thursdays. He is with NOLA.com and The Advocate. Joins us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Luke, how we doing?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure. Got another look, and the first kind of look at the full squad here in a mandatory minicamp. First, seems like everybody showed up. That's got to be a good sign, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, right? Nobody actually had any absences from the mandatory portion. That includes Alvin Kamara, who I think is kind of continuing to play a little bit of a game of chicken with the Saints. But yeah, everybody was there, including Cam Jordan. Right, like that's like the thing that we have all been kind of wondering about over the course of this off season, as he's been a free agent and comes in and joins the team right during minicamp. So like I think like personally I like where they're at, even with some of the guys that they're being very cautious with from like an injury standpoint and kind of holding them out of the full team stuff.
Is Cam Jordan's role similar on this team than it was last team? I know that they've obviously fortified things with a couple of intriguing prospects in the offseason on the edge, but what do you feel like his role is?
Yeah, I think that remains to be seen a little bit. I think if they were, kind of convinced that it would be less of a role than it was last year, I think they would have been honest with him about that. They're not going to play games with Cam Jordan at this stage of his career, at any stage of his career, right? He's one of the best players in franchise history. And maybe if you're being real about it, probably the second best player in franchise history. So I don't think they would have lied to him. But at the same time, I think you got a guy in Tyree, I'm blanking on his last name, Tyree Wilson, thank you. Who's a 7th overall pick a couple years ago, and maybe he was just in a bad situation. They can get more out of him. Anthony Jennings has played some high level football in his career in like a kind of a reserve role. So, I don't necessarily think it's guaranteed. Like if he ends up playing 30% of the snaps instead of whatever it was last year, let's call it 50. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised, but I don't think that it's going to be this. I don't know. It's a long way of saying that. Like, I don't think that it's going to be like this drastic reduction in his role. But if it is, I think it's because he's not the same player that he was last year.
Let's talk about some of the things you saw on the practice field. We all realize it's not exactly the genuine article of October here, but passing game thoughts that you saw?
Yeah, I think some up and down. It's definitely hard to say like you're getting a true sense of it without Chris Olave and Jordan Tyson in there.
Right.
And a lot of the guys that Shuck specifically was working with are guys he doesn't have a lot of time on task with, besides Devon Bailey, who was only there for a handful of his starts last year. I think there was like some highs and lows. There were some moments when it looked really, really good, and there were some moments when it looked out of sync. But I think that is, to me, that's just like early stage stuff that I'm not even remotely concerned about. I think for me the thing, it's less of a takeaway from all the stuff that I've been seeing on the field, which like I just don't feel like I can put a lot of stock into it, a lot of weight into it. And it's more about like the stuff I'm hearing about like the team itself. I think Shuck just has a really, really good head on his shoulders. I think he knows how to do this. Beyond like the physical stuff that we saw last year, I think the thing that's going to separate him is that he's got it between the ears, and the fact that he's organizing a passing camp with all of his pass catchers. I mean, he's paying for it out of his own pocket to fly him out there to Del Mar, like San Diego area, to do some on-field work and get the timing down, but also to go bond and to get closer and go play some golf, go to the beach, whatever. Like that stuff matters. It matters that your quarterback is taking the time to do that and put it all together. So like any of the stuff that I saw that was just like that didn't look great today, I'm not worried about it on whatever it is today, June 18th. If it's looking like that on September 1st, then we'll have other comments here. But I feel pretty good about where they're at right now.
I know there was a tweak of an injury there in rookie minicamp, but it sounds like Oscar Delp, when he's available, is making some things happen. Do you feel like he's potentially carving out a role on this team?
Absolutely. I think he gives them something they didn't have. Look, they were in shotgun last year 75% of the time, right? They had the second most shotgun snaps in the NFL behind the Cincinnati Bengals, who have like been that over the course of Joe Burrow's time there. I don't think they want to play that way. I think Delp allows them to do a lot more under center stuff because he's a traditional wide tight end. And then we see in these mini camp practices and some of the OTAs that he's a good pass catcher. He's a big guy who can move and he can catch. And like that's going to be a weapon in this offense. I don't know what his numbers are going to look like. I don't think he's going to supplant Juwan Johnson or maybe even Noah Fant as like the top receiving option at tight end. But like he gives them the ability to do more stuff in this offense. I think especially adding him to the mix, and then you got Travis Etienne and David Edwards. I think we're going to see a more diverse offense this year, and he's going to be a big part of that.
And then I'm curious your thoughts on the running back rotation. I know everybody's not there and healthy, and that's a part of the problem. But what do you see early on?
Well, I mean, we're getting like a very limited look at the running game, right?
Right.
No pads. They've done some 11 on 11, but like how much stock can you really put into it when guys aren't tackling? But I think Achane's explosiveness really popped out to me, just on a number of occasions where it was like one cut and go. And it's something that's just been so extremely lacking here with this team for years now. It's not just Alvin Kamara, right? He's been part of that. The lack of explosives from him has been an issue, but it's been everybody they've trotted out there. I think Audric Estime had that long touchdown run last year in the I think it was the Titans game, and that was like the first touchdown run of 20 plus yards they've had in like 2 years. And you see that with Achane and this kind of limited small sample size that we've got. I'm excited about that. As far as how it shakes up behind them, as of right now, it's like, it feels like Alvin Kamara and then kind of coin flip between Devin Neal and Audric Estime. Neal was dealing with something during minicamp. He tweaked something during OTA, so we didn't see him out there this week. But I think there's kind of a battle there, and we'll see what happens with Kendre Miller. Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it might be tough for him to make the roster, especially if Alvin Kamara is on the roster. Just because it's he's going to be by the time September rolls around, you'll be 10 months removed from a major knee injury for a player who's never stayed healthy over the course of his career. I think it's going to be tough for him. He's going to have to show something.
And then out at corner, last one there. Obviously, Quincy Riley growing into year 2, and you went out and got a corner as well. How do you think that position is shaking out?
Yeah, like I like what they have out there to start. I do not like their depth.
Yeah.
I thought Martin Emerson, I think, looked good at times. He had a pick in one of the OTA practices. He made a nice play on like a tipped ball. But you like what you see out of Quincy Riley, especially at Kool-Aid McKinstry too. I think he's a player who looks like he's playing with a lot of confidence, which I thought going into last year, but I think the second year in the scheme is going to be really helpful for him. I think he's bound for a good year. But like behind them, you got a couple late round rookies. You've got Martin Emerson, you've got Ike Yadam. These are guys who were either available late on day 3 of the draft or kind of cut loose by several teams throughout their career. And then at star, I'm really concerned about that. It's not just can Jonas Sanker play that, which I think is a big ask. I was really impressed with him last year. But when you start talking about having him run across the field on some of these shallow crossers with guys like JSN or something like that, that's scary. And then behind him, number 2 right now is Jaden Price, who if he's played in a NFL football regular season game, it's been like extremely limited special teams action. He was on the practice squad for most of last year. He was a guy they plucked out of the UFL. And that's right now your number 2 star, right? Like one of your most important positions on your defense. So like, I still think that's an area where they should consider adding, because one injury I feel like could really be kind of crippling for this defense there right now.
It's interesting, and obviously now minicamp in the rearview mirror, and we start to kind of look forward to training camp here in the matter of just over a month. Luke, we appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm going to go write Tyree Wilson on a chalkboard about 500 times.
Don't worry about that. Live radio, 10 hours a week. I do it all the time. It happens.
See you, buddy.
All right, that's Luke Johnson with NOLA.com and The Advocate. Let me remind you about GoTro's Outdoor Power. They're online at GoTrosOnline.com, and you can go there, but I would recommend you go to one of their locations. They got one in Baton Rouge on Airline and one in Gonzales, and I would go like this week. Why? Because they've got some of the best deals they've had all year right now on their Hustler series. This is for the entire month of June, this part. The Raptor series, $200 off. Fast Track series, $500 off. Their commercial mowers, up to $1,500 off. That goes to the end of the month, so you got 12 days there. But if you're looking to get no sales tax on the in-unit stock sales right now, you got to go until the 20th, which is 2 days. So go buy right now. Get no sales tax on their Hustlers. That is an unbelievable deal they are offering on Father's Day week. If you need that new zero-turn mower, GoTro's Outdoor Power is the place you need to be. They're online, but you can stop on by and go see them on Airline or in Gonzales. That's GoTro's Outdoor Power. Thursday shows are brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Just to look at the U.S. Open leaderboard right now, Rory McIlroy with a 2-shot lead. He is 3 under par, has played 14 holes today at a very, very windy Shinnecock. They got delayed earlier this morning by a couple of hours by fog, but the sun has burned that fog off. The greens are as receptive as they're going to be all week, considering how hard the wind is blowing. They're watering them pretty liberally at this point as well, but this course is going to rear its ugly head here over the course of the next 4 days, and I am very, very excited to see it. That wind's going to blow, those greens are going to firm up, and you're going to see something around even par win this golf tournament. Rory McIlroy off to a great start. Some other guys that have done a really good job getting off to good starts. Ricky Fowler's 1 under, Keegan Bradley 1 under, Ludwig Oberg 1 under. They are all on their back nine. Sam Burns is off to a really nice start of his round. He has played 15 holes. He is even par. So is Brian Harmon. So really, really interesting stuff there from Shinnecock in New York. Keep you posted on that as we continue to move through the show today, but don't have a segment devoted for it because we got so much to get to. We're going to do a lot of baseball here over the next 30 minutes. In 15 minutes, I will tell you what Major League Baseball is proposing about its draft, and I'll give you a hint. It involves high school players going to LSU. So we'll talk about that in 15 minutes. But let's go to Omaha next and talk about the College World Series with Joe Healy. We'll do that.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
I'm telling you about my friends over at Auctioner. Whether you're an athlete or just trying to stay active, Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute can help keep you moving. They can get you up moving. Got to have access to the highest levels of specialized care, nationally renowned expertise, the latest equipment, modern facilities, and that includes a walk-in orthopedic clinic right there at Elite Training Complex on Burbank. So if you've got a sprain, a strain, a minor dislocation, even an ACL issue, you can walk in on Burbank at Elite Training Complex without an appointment and be seen. So walk in today. They got on-site x-ray, and they can treat all of those minor injuries. From the field to recovery, Auctioner Andrews Institute is there to help move your healing forward and get you back to what you love, whether that's playing high school sports, whether you're an ancient athlete, whether that's getting back in the gym or playing with the grandkids. Doesn't matter. Learn more at auctioner.org/BROrtho.
Bayou Ford is taking $12,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks, plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic
You're
beyond
listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. No place that serves some pretty good beef. Omaha, Nebraska. I ate plenty of it last summer. None this summer up in Omaha, but one guy that no doubt has, Joe Healy, D1 Baseball's SEC Extra Team. Been in Omaha now for a week, and they've got one more weekend to go. It'll be Oklahoma and North Carolina for the title. Joe joins us now as he has Thursdays throughout the season. Joe, how are you?
Doing well.
had to seek out a salad the other day just because it's been so much beef here in Omaha. You know, the body just at some point says enough is enough. We need to get some greens in here.
It was a sad state of affairs for me last year because I was over at the casino in Council Bluffs doing my show and staying there, and there were more French dips and cheeseburgers. It was a bleak scene for me over there, just eating horrible caloric foods, but very tasty and a lot of fun, and I hope to do it again next year. But this year, no LSU, but a lot of drama up there in Omaha. I guess I've got to start with Oklahoma at this point because we talked a couple weeks ago, are they even any good? I guess I got to kind of put the sword down on this one. They're playing fantastic baseball. What have you seen?
Yeah, they really are. I mean, they're the team that is playing the best. They've been the best team out here so far through the first week of this tournament, and I was wrong on them too. Like I was pretty skeptical of them actually being a good baseball team. Is going as far as recently as going back to the regional, going into that regional. I wasn't sure that they were going to win a game out in Atlanta, and you know, then they have that. They've just kind of caught fire ever since they came back from that 8-2 deficit against Georgia Tech in that first regional final game. They come back from a 7-3 deficit in the second regional final game, and really ever since then they've caught fire, and they're playing well in all aspects. This is not a situation where they've found one or two starting pitchers that have just kind of carried them the entire way, or the offense has done all the heavy lifting. They've really been a really well-rounded team out here, and at this point, I think North Carolina is the better team on balance. But if Oklahoma continues to play the way they have these last couple of days, like I don't see any reason why they couldn't win the title.
They certainly can playing like that. I mean, Georgia's as good as anybody, and they just punked them twice. I'm curious if you've talked to Skip Johnson about the evolution of his starting rotation, which was early in the season. It was Cam Johnson and L.J. Mercurius. That was their top two, and then kind of figured out after that. Well, they've won 3 games in Omaha, and those two guys haven't started any of them. Now, L.J.'s still coming out of the bullpen for him, but, like, where do these freshmen come from?
Yeah, it's a really good question. You know, Cord Rager's been a part of the rotation all season, and he's just a classic case of a guy who's gotten better. And I asked about that. I wrote about that. There's a piece in the site about that. And, you know, Cord Rager just honestly said, like, I just got more mature. I just learned how to navigate games against really good baseball teams. They also messed a little bit with his arm slot, lowered it a little bit to allow for a little bit more extension on his pitches, and that's something he's gotten more comfortable with as the season has gone on. Skip Johnson threw a Peyton Tolley comp on him as a guy to compare him to in terms of the type of extension and arm slot he has on his pitches. And so I think that's just a case of a guy who's gotten better as the season has gone on. Now, it's still pretty rare for a freshman. Typically, we're talking about freshman wall kind of stuff when we get to this point of the season. That has not been the case with Cord Rager. The more interesting ones, though, are Xander Mercurius and Nick Weslowski. You know, Xander is someone who came on a little bit as a bullpen guy as the season went on. But I didn't anticipate him being this, but he might honestly have the best stuff of anybody on this team, and they've known that for a while now, and it just now feels like he's finally getting his opportunities to go out there and show what he can do. And Weslowski's someone who came totally out of left field. I got asked by I will leave the person nameless, but an ESPN employee who's been working on the broadcast side during this tournament, who asked me, "What do you got on Nick Weslowski?" And I said, honestly, I don't know. Like, I got very little on him. I'm going to have to do my research too, because I didn't know very much about him, and he just kind of came out of nowhere to throw a really strong start last night against Georgia. And Skip Johnson in postgame at one point said, look, some of this is my fault, like the fact that this seems like such a surprise, because I think he even realized it took him maybe too long to just throw his best guys. And maybe, you know, it's easy to kind of maybe not believe that your best guys really are these freshmen, but at some point you kind of stop worrying about hurting feelings or what you've done the rest of the season or the message it sends to everyone else, all this kind of peripheral stuff. At some point, you just need to throw the guys you think give you the best chance to win, and it feels like that's what this has boiled down to, is he believes those freshmen are giving his team the best chance to win, and the proof is in the pudding right now that is the case.
I watched an all-time Oregon State team just run out of steam offensively against LSU in 2017. Wake didn't hit a lot against LSU. Now, Skeens had something to do with that in 23. Georgia didn't hit when they got to Omaha. How do you explain that?
Yeah, I think it's a team that just went quite at the wrong time of year. I think a lot of it's the just baseball element of this, of like, you get into this situation and these games you're facing good competition every single day. You're not seeing any bad pitchers. That's the other thing about playing here in the College World Series is these staffs get really, really small. I mean, Oklahoma's used 4 guys. North Carolina has used 5 guys. Like, to get through those 3 games, they're not really looking to extend their pitching staffs any more than the bare minimum number of pitchers. So you're not seeing any bad pitchers out here. So I think that's an element. But I think they also got frustrated. Like, it looked like you could physically see the pressing over the last couple of games for Georgia in this tournament, where if they were using wooden bats, they would be grinding the bats down to sawdust with their hands. That's how much they felt like they were pressing at the plate and just gripping the bat so tight. And maybe it's because the ball wasn't jumping the way they wanted it to. Maybe it was the frustration of certain guys that just went quiet. Trey Phelps has been quiet really since the regional, and especially since getting suspended. He was something like 1 for 13 going into their last game in games since he got suspended for the first game of that super regional. So I think it was just frustration at a certain point set in, and the absolute worst thing you can do when you're struggling offensively is to try harder. And it felt like that's all Georgia knew how to do, was just try harder, and it just didn't work, and it just led to more frustration and them trying even harder, and you just get stuck in this vicious cycle that created a situation where they got eliminated without making much of a dent offensively. The success they had here was basically just because they pitched really well.
Are you ready to pencil Georgia in for another 19 or 20 SEC wins next year and 145 homers just because they've done that the last few years? You figure, oh, well, that's Charlie Condon, and then they get Daniel Jackson. And is this just kind of what Wes Johnson's program is going to be until it's not?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they do a really good job recruiting. They've already got some guys in the transfer portal that I think are going to be some pretty good fits. Mikey Bell is probably the name that I look at most there. He's 2-time West Coast Conference Player of the Year. He's headed to Georgia, a guy with some pop. I think that's maybe their next guy. So I just kind of assume that that's going to be what they are. They recruit to that ballpark really, really well. That's where the home runs come from. And at this point, this is now, 3 seasons in a row with Wes Johnson at the helm, where they've been pretty much exactly what they've been in the regular season in terms of having that kind of success. And now they've finally broken through and gotten to Omaha. And I do think that maybe relieves some of the pressure. It had been a while since Georgia had been here, and they made a little run. Like, it's disappointing they're gone because a lot of people looked at them, myself included, as the favorite going into the tournament. So I know there's disappointment they're headed home. But really, in the grand scheme of things, a successful season for Georgia to get back to the stage, to get to the Final Four of the CWS, that's a big step forward for a program that I think was starting to feel a little bit of that pressure to get back and was starting to be a little bit of a pressure cooker in home postseason events, and they finally broke through that. I think that's going to be good for the program in the long run as well.
Two of the other teams that went home early, Ole Miss and Texas. I picked Ole Miss to win it just because I liked those 3 pitchers, and they just didn't pitch great, and the bullpen let them down as well. What do you make of Ole Miss's into their season and where things go from here, where it feels like all 3 of those guys in the rotation are going to be moving on?
Yeah, that's going to be a tough thing to replace there, especially, it's so difficult when you have a guy like Taylor Rabe. He was such a big part of their success, but at the same time, he has improved his stock so much that now he's guaranteed to be signing in the draft, whereas, 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, maybe you wouldn't have said that. That's the double-edged sword of having someone emerge like that throughout the season. But I like the general trajectory of this program. It feels like they've kind of gotten back on course after some struggles immediately after winning that national title, and that was a big theme for them throughout this postseason, is that there's a group of players, Judd Utermark, Will Furness, guys like Hunter Elliott, obviously, that stuck around the Ole Miss program when a lot of other people weren't. I mean, they lost Andrew Fisher. They lost Liam Doyle. They lost Wes Mendez to Florida State. Like, this was not a program that was in a really good place a couple of years ago, and they course-corrected here and got back to Omaha. And so, yeah, you're disappointed. I picked them to get to the finals, so I was disappointed, too, for them to go 0-2. But they're another program that I think you look at the big picture here, and you realize that this is a really good place for them to have ended the season, given what they were going through just a couple of years ago.
Jim Schlossnagle's had a lot of really, really good teams over 3 different stops and still has not won the whole thing. Do you feel like they're close?
I do feel like they're close, but then you look back kind of at this run in the College World Series, and they really didn't end up being all that close. So I kind of am in 2 minds of it, where it does feel a little bit like, they kind of continually, Schlossnagle has kind of continually gotten himself to this stage, and there was just that once at A&M where he got 1 win away, but for the most part, his times here in Omaha have ended short of the CWS finals, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a him problem, because you don't get to this stage that many times without being really, really good at your job, but I have a hard time kind of figuring out if Texas is any closer to where they were to getting to a national title than they were before, or if they're still kind of in that same spot. I think next year is a big year for them. I think the roster is probably going to be better than this one. It was already a very good roster, but you consider the young pitchers I think they're going to have back. They've got a really nice core coming back. I think next year has a chance to be even better than this one was from a regular season standpoint. And that's, I think, going to be a really good test case for, okay, how close are you really? Can you come back in back-to-back years and get to Omaha? Can you challenge to win a national title year in and year out, as opposed to being every 3 or 4 years, as has kind of been the case with Texas going back several head coaches now, where every 3 or 4 years it feels like they're in that mix. Can you be at the type of team that's there every single year, year after year? That's kind of the next challenge for them.
Oklahoma and North Carolina starting Saturday night. You got to pick?
I'm going Oklahoma. It's just at this point, I need to stop doubting them, and maybe I'm going to be wrong again, and North Carolina is going to control this thing. But at some point, I'm just going to kind of give in and say that this team is playing the best right now, and I'm going to go with form over the better team throughout the regular season and the postseason. So North Carolina, I think, is the better team. They're the deeper team. They're the team that I have, that all season has rewarded the faith that we've shown in them, being a top 5 team basically all season long. But, man, Oklahoma looks really good right now. So I'm going to go with current form over the form of the last 3 to 4 months.
I'm sure there's plenty of salad options back at home. Get back to the beef over the next couple of days, all right?
All right, will do.
Joe Healy, D1 Baseball's SEC Extra Team, with us all season long. Appreciate him for checking in from somewhere in Middle America. It'll be a fun final starting on Saturday night. Take a time out when we come back. Major League Baseball is proposing drastic changes to the MLB draft. How does it affect LSU? Next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carver and his team are awesome folks to work with. They know that benefits are really, really tough right now for business owners, for CFOs, trying to make sure you've got the right coverage for healthcare, for dental, for vision, for your employees, but also trying to make sure that you're not cutting too far into your budget annually because of how much it's costing. If you've had a couple of bad renewals or you're dreading the upcoming renewal and you'd like a second option, the Howard Insurance Group can do that for you. There's a carrier in Louisiana that's really been raising rates over the last 3 or 4 years. If that's been the case in your business, contact the Howard Insurance Group. They're not a magic bullet. I can't promise you they're going to save you 20%, but they can offer another option. They're an independent broker. They've got contracts with different carriers. They can give you a second look to maybe help you on the bottom line. They know how big it is to have your employees covered. That helps attract talent into your organization and retain key pieces to your organization. If you're looking to make a change there or just want a second opinion, the Howard Insurance Group is happy to help you with your benefits. The Howard Insurance Group, they're online at HighlandIG.com.
I'm Billy Schmidt, and I've been with First American Bank for 13 years. I have a passion of getting to know customers, getting to know their journeys, getting to know their stories, and being a small part of that, and just continuing that, and taking those relationships and expanding out into the community, just to make First American a household name. And people look at us and say, hey, what's special about you guys? You're part of a family.
Another roof gone too soon. Looks like neglect. There's no doubt about it. This is a case of poor installation. At Pelican Roofing, we don't guess. We investigate to find the real cause of your roof's problems. Call Pelican Roofing for your free roof investigation today. Case closed.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $18,000 off MSRP plus 3.9% financing for 60 months. $18,000 off plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google. Based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 5-star Google reviews, 5 local locations and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Remind you about One Bath and Closets. They're online at onebathandclosets.com. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. It doesn't have to be a huge full-scale renovation to get David Duvall and his team involved. If you just want to do a tub-to-shower conversion, that's right in their wheelhouse. Maybe you've got one of those big 90s-style tubs. It's got all those jacuzzi jets that you don't ever use. It's taking up a ton of space. You never sit in it. Take it out. Put in a glass walk-in shower. Change the aesthetic and the functionality of your bathroom. Add some value to your home. David and his team can oftentimes complete these tasks in 3 to 5 days. Every job's different, so you can't guarantee that, but that's oftentimes what you're looking at, and it can transform your bathroom. So if you want to do a full-scale renovation, they can do it, but if you want to do something small like a tub-to-shower conversion, let David Duvall and his team get involved. They've been at it for 30-plus years. It's David Duvall and One Bath and Closets. They're online at onebathandclosets.com. All right, this is a new proposal. Now, keep that word in mind. It's a proposal. This has not been discussed, not been debated, not been negotiated, not been approved. It's a proposal by Major League Baseball, but it could have massive implications on college baseball. Jeff Passan writes, the MLB today proposed an overhauled domestic amateur entry system that removes high school players from the draft. You heard that right. Removes high school players from the draft, makes college players eligible after the sophomore year, so 2 years in college, shortens the draft from 20 rounds to 12 rounds, and cuts the bonus pool from $360 million to $200 million. We're talking about taking $160 million out of the draft bonus pools. That's what sources have told ESPN. So what does this mean for college baseball? Well, it means that Connor Griffin plays college baseball for 2 years. It means that Joey Gallo plays college baseball for 2 years. It means that Trevor Story plays college baseball for 2 years. It means Delino DeShields plays college baseball for 2 years. It means Cam Caminiti plays college baseball for 2 years. Robbie Snelling plays college baseball for 2 years. Mikey Ryan plays college baseball for 2 years. These are all guys that I'm listing that LSU has gotten signatures from that have bypassed LSU for the professional ranks. They would all be playing college baseball. Now, you've got guys like Alex Bregman that you lock in for 3 years. You've got guys that you lock in for 3 years all over the board that they're no longer locked in for 3 years. It's only 2 years. But Jay Johnson recruits the high-end high school players as well as anybody in the nation. Tim Corbin's in that discussion with Vanderbilt, absolutely. Tennessee has gotten involved with that. Under Vitello, we'll see what Josh Elander can do. Florida's generally got a couple. Mississippi State's generally got a couple. But LSU generally has a lot. And last year they got crushed, lost 8 guys. This year you're probably going to lose 6 or 8 guys. And those guys would end up at LSU. Why are they doing this, you might ask? Why would the MLB want to do that? Well, a couple reasons. One, minor league baseball is very expensive. You're paying a lot of these guys a lot of money up front. You have 4 or 5 teams you're operating. They all travel. It's very expensive. You know what's not expensive to Major League Baseball? College baseball. Send them there for 2 years. We don't pay a cent. They shrink minor league baseball, maybe to 2 or 3 organizations they're dealing with. They get a chance to scout guys in the SEC and the ACC instead of playing American Legion ball against guys who are about to be in fraternities and selling insurance in the next 4 years. And all of a sudden, they've cut costs and made better draft evaluations. All the while, college baseball would get a huge influx of talent, and I think this would be a huge positive for LSU to not have to fight the professional ranks to get all the guys that you recruit on campus this would be huge for LSU. Now, again, this is not finalized. This is a labor stoppage that's coming, and it's going to be a cutthroat negotiation. The owners want a salary cap. They now want to put fewer guys in the professional ranks. They now want to force players into college. Major League Baseball Players Association is not going to like any of this stuff. So the likelihood of it getting passed, to me, I have no idea. I just know that most of the stuff MLB comes up with, MLBPA is not going to like. But I will say this. The thing that they're going to fight the hardest, meaning the PA, Players Association fighting the owners, is the salary cap. That's the one they're not going to budge on. It'll be the last thing they budge on if they do. So if they're going to have to make some concessions, this may be one of the things that they do concede on. If we assume that both parties are going to have to concede a little bit, the MLBPA is far more likely to tell 17 and 18-year-olds they got to go to LSU and Arkansas for a couple of years than tell Bryce Harper he's got to take a pay cut because they got a salary cap. So this is something to monitor. It's going to be a ridiculous winter of negotiations. There's a lockout that's going to come. It's going to make me want to vomit everywhere. But this is one of the things that could impact us locally here with LSU. If you're getting all these superstars that Jay Johnson gets, they get picked and signed for $5 million, they end up at the box. That could be something. Hour 2 next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil and Melissa have been running the shop for 40 years. They know what they're doing. A lot of you in South Louisiana this morning lost power. A lot of my friends did over in New Orleans. If you lost power this morning, how big a drag was that? You can't work. You got kids home from school. What are you doing? It's just a bummer. You can prevent that. You can give yourself the peace of mind to know the power is not going out at my house with a Generac home standby generator from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Give them a call today. 985-397-1562. 985-397-1562. You can call the Gonzales location, 225-300-9389. Say, Neil, Melissa, I heard about it on Hunt's show. Today was the last day I want to lose power. I want that Generac home standby generator. A local team will install it. They'll do the maintenance on it. It's Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Find them online. It's BoudreauxElectrical.com. BoudreauxElectrical.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinecenterla.com.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service. And
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Rory McIlroy's moved to the top of the leaderboard at the U.S. Open. Ludwig Oberg and Ricky Fowler are 2 back. Brooks Koepka 4 off the lead. Scotty Scheffler, the top-ranked golfer in the world, is 6 strokes back. Only 5 golfers currently under par at Shinnecock Hills Golf Club. Despite his Knicks winning the NBA title for the first time in 53 years, the team will not go into the punitive second apron to keep together for next season, according to owner Jim Dolan. New York's projected to be $13 million below the second apron this summer. So what are its priorities? ESPN NBA front office insider Bobby Marks.
Retain your bench. They also have the 24th, 4th, and 31st pick in the draft. They've got a late second here. There's also the looming Karl Anthony Towns extension. 4 years, $272 million that he's extensionful. He can negotiate.
Baseball Brewers righty Quinn Priester will undergo season-ending surgery for thoracic outlet syndrome. He is expected to be sidelined 8 to 10 months. NHL, the Capitals signed coach Spencer Carberry to a multi-year extension.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Friday, the vibes around the Dallas Cowboys are extremely high right now. So what do they need to achieve this year in order to prove themselves? We'll talk about it on Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Some of the best beef you will find anywhere, and it's just up the road in Ethel, Louisiana at Sagrera Farms. 2 places you can get Sagrera Farms beef. You can get it at the farm, Sagrera Farms, or you can get it at Supper Club. I was looking at Supper Club's social media earlier this week. Best cut they have ever gotten from Sagrera Farms this week. You're looking at almost 20 on the IMF scale there. It's flavorful. It is tender. It's a game changer for you. So if you're looking for some of the best beef in the country, you don't have to go far. Change the way you buy your beef. Go to Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Contact Sean Sagrera today and fill that freezer with that delicious, tender, flavorful beef. Let's get hour 2 started with a new guest to the show here. John Blau is the new beat writer for LSU over at The Advocate. Spent the last 5 years with the Post and Courier in Charleston covering Clemson, which happens to be LSU's season opener coming up here in September. So an interesting perspective there, and wanted to welcome him to Baton Rouge and to the show. John, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing quite well. I'm curious, before you took this job with The Advocate, how much Louisiana experience you have?
Zero, zilch. I had to ask people how many alligators were there. Am I going to be safe? Can I breathe with the humidity? Things like that. So I definitely had to do my research, and people assured me it's not as bad as some of the things you hear. Obviously not all bad. A lot of good, obviously, with some of the culture and the food. Everybody talks about the food all the time. But, yeah, very little familiarity. This will be my first time in the state, so it'll be interesting.
Well, welcome down. I know some people over there at the newspaper that can show you around quite a bit, and you'll get indoctrinated into LSU sports here one way or another. I want to talk about your perspective, though, on Clemson's program, because it's going to be a hot topic this summer, and it's been a hot topic nationally with Dabo Swinney and the way that he's operating. You've been there on the front lines in Clemson. Kind of give me the 30,000-foot view on the way he's doing things, because from the very, very far away, it appears that he's doing things the way he did in 2017.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, he's still a coach who goes by the slogan, until graduation, do us part. And so that means if he brings a player in, they're not good enough. He's not one of those coaches who's going to nudge anybody to the transfer portal to open up a spot. He has to hit on the evaluation because, again, he hasn't used the portal very much. It is sort of, trending a little bit more towards normal in terms of they brought in 10 transfers this offseason. That was triple what they did the offseason before that. In the offseason, a couple off seasons before that, it was like a couple of backup quarterbacks they brought in via the portal. So he's adapting a little bit, but yeah, he's definitely been very, you might say, principled in terms of he just believes things should be done a certain way. He's very loyal. He doesn't want to bend on those principles, and that's obviously makes your margin for error much smaller in this era of college football when other programs are filling holes with veteran players. So definitely an interesting season for him. I mean, because last season was supposed to be maybe the vindication of that philosophy that he's had. He brought back all this talent, was able to retain all these players that had NFL draft potential, ended up having 8-9 players drafted this year. And then to have a 7-6 season was an absolute disappointment. He himself has come out and said it was a coaching failure. So really big year for him, and obviously a very big opener. But obviously a very big year for LSU, too, so that makes it a great game.
Yeah, I mean, we thought when LSU and Clemson wrapped the game up in Clemson last year that it was just two great defense, championship-level teams, and it turned out those two were mediocre teams with decent defenses and terrible offenses, and that borne itself out over the course of the rest of the season. I'm curious your thoughts on what Clemson might look like this year. I know that that's not your job anymore, but a lot of guys through the draft, a quarterback that is exited in Cade Klubnik. Like, do you feel like this is a better team than the nation is giving it credit for? You're talking about a team that's not inside a lot of top 20s right now.
Yeah, I feel like you develop a syndrome covering Clemson, just thinking it could always be better the next year. Like, there is a part of me that thinks this team could actually end up being better than last year. It's not as talented because, again, you got 8 or 9 guys going to the NFL that you got to replace. At the same time, it might be more complete because, again, they went to the transfer portal. They got 10 guys. A lot of those pieces in the secondary, that was one of the worst areas for Clemson, was just their pass defense, just way too many busts in the secondary. They brought in a couple of safeties who are veteran. Offensively, they didn't bring in a ton of players, but Matt Luke is the offensive line coach there, obviously familiar from the SEC at Georgia and Ole Miss. He's been starting to bring in some more talented guys. And a receiver, they got some dudes. I mean, they got TJ Moore, Bryant Wesco Jr. Coming back. They got a tight end, a couple tight ends, Olsen Pat Henry, Christian Betancourt. And they are bringing back an emphasis on running the ball, which they really got away from last year under Garrett Riley and Chad Morris, who's a retread of an offensive coordinator. I mean, he was the guy who kind of helped them ascend from 2011 to 2014. He said he's going to establish the run. They got a couple backs, brought in Chris Johnson Jr. From SMU, who's got a lot of speed. So yeah, there's a chance they're a better team. At the same time, again, it feels like a syndrome that you develop because, who knows? They obviously did lose a lot of talent, so we got to see what it actually kind of looks like on the field.
John Blau is our guest. Spent 5 years with the Post and Courier, the Charleston newspaper, covering Clemson. Now the Advocate beat reporter for LSU. So an interesting perspective on that season opener. Getting to know John a little bit here as he makes the move to Baton Rouge. What interests you about covering Lane Kiffin?
Everything. That was a tweet. Obviously one of the more interesting career arcs of anybody in college football. I mean, again, you look at started as the young genius coach in the NFL with the Raiders, obviously a massive falling out with Al Davis. Then, he ends up bouncing back to Tennessee and then leaves really quickly for USC and then, some success and then fired there and then has to reinvent himself at Alabama and FAU and obviously Ole Miss and then, enrages another SEC fan base leaving Ole Miss before the season's over. So just a very interesting character there. obviously. I think he tweeted today for the first time in like a month. He's trying to tweet less, but obviously he makes waves there too. So that obviously is interesting. But just the program of LSU overall. I mean, obviously this is a program with a lot of prestige. It's had a lot of success, won national titles under multiple coaches, and just made a huge swing here. I mean, obviously $54 million to Brian Kelly to go away, and you pay about $100 million to Lane to bring him in, and overhaul the roster with 40 transfers. I think that roster has been estimated something like $40 million. So just a very, very intriguing, interesting program. Whether it's going to go well or not, we have to see. But I think regardless of whatever happens, it's going to be an interesting story to cover.
I wanted to kind of tie all that together with starting there with Dabo Swinney and then kind of closing things with Lane Kiffin and then bring it all together at the end. Like, you've sat through a lot of Dabo Swinney press conferences, and from the outside in the national bubble, everyone kind of looks at Dabo and goes, really, that just doesn't – there's a negative connotation these days where I think there was a lot of positivity 8-10 years ago. How would you characterize the national perspective of Dabo and kind of what tying that into what you feel the national perspective of Lane Kiffin is, and now that you'll cover both of them?
Yeah, like I think when you're covering Dabo on the ground, you hear some of these things and you kind of understand what perspective he has. Sometimes you're surprised that that this is the thing that made news because again, his principles. You understand he believes that education is important. He believes that he doesn't want to push players out, and he wants to develop from the inside. And sometimes the things he says kind of get taken a little out of context, it sometimes feels like. But he's a guy with principles. He's genuine. You may not agree with what he says, but he does believe it. And so, it's going to be interesting to see, again, if he's able to kind of win the way he wants to win. He doubled down on it. Obviously he said last season was a coaching failure, but it really hasn't changed a whole lot in terms of, he only flipped one offensive coordinator, 10 transfers is a decent amount, but a lot of these guys are the same. And so he continues to be that guy. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how things go for him. And then Lane Kiffin, obviously he's a guy who has a lot in his past, a lot of scars. Verge Osbury, the AD at LSU, said that, hey, I wouldn't have hired him a few years ago because I just didn't feel like he was that mature. And there's a feeling that he's matured a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to interact with him and kind of see how different he is. If things continue to ascend in his career, which he's been ascending lately, or if, there are things that get a little rocky. He has experience with that. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of where the arc takes him. I think they're both fascinating personalities, both Dabo and Lane. So, obviously having them facing off in week one is going to be really, really cool.
It certainly will, and you'll have a unique perspective of that inside Tiger Stadium for the first time. John, we appreciate a little bit of time. I know you're in the process of moving, and that's not a lot of fun, but welcome to Louisiana. Get settled, and we'll see you out on the 5,000-degree practice field at the beginning of August, all right?
Looking forward to it. Appreciate the time, guys.
Appreciate you. That's John Blau, who's now with The Advocate, just spent 5 years with the Post-and-Courier in Charleston covering Clemson. So I'm curious to get his thoughts as we get closer to that game, but I just wanted to I have not met John. He has just moved down to Baton Rouge and has not spent a lot of time here. So just wanted to get him on, get to know him a little bit, and certainly we'll see him out of practice moving forward. He's taking the role that Wilson Alexander vacated. Wilson has moved to On3, where he's covering collegiate athletics a little bit nationally, and John is filling that role with Koki Riley and Reed Darcy, and of course Scott Rabelais and the crew over there at The Advocate. So appreciate John for giving us a little bit of time here on this Thursday. All right, we're chugging along here. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We still got plenty to cover over the last 45 minutes of the show. We'll hear from Kellen Moore coming up in 15 minutes. Let's stick to the college side of things. Let's stick to LSU. Lane Kiffin was on Tyrann Matthews' podcast earlier this week. We'll have a little bit of sound from that coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. 116 years in our community. 116 years. That's a long time. Longer than I'm guessing, it's just a guess, any of you have been alive. There's a possibility somebody 117 years old is listening, but I think I probably would have heard of them. They've been around longer than everybody, and they're going to be here for a long time moving forward. If you're looking for a community bank to help you out with your commercial loan, with your personal loan, First American Bank and Trust is happy to help you, and you don't have to go far to find them. 25 locations in Southeast Louisiana. If you're down the bayou in Lafourche, St. John Parish, maybe up I-12 in St. Tammany, not St. Tammany, Well, St. Tammany and Tangipahoa. It is St. Tammany. Just trying to do that off the top of my head. St. Tammany, Tangipahoa on I-12, of course, in Baton Rouge, Jones Creek, maybe down in Metairie as well. First American Bank and Trust has a location near you. Stop on by. You'll get that community feel. They've got the resources to help you out, and every decision on your commercial or personal loan is made locally. First American Bank and Trust. Find them online at fabt.com.
Box combo for George. I see you, Luis. Food's on the way.
Please don't. Hey, you know you can use your hands, right?
Got those box combos for you. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Bayou Ford is taking $12,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks, plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. And join our VIP fan club. Text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinela.com and tell them Matt sent you.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Watching Rory McIlroy tee off on his 18th hole of the day. He is 2 under par playing the 9th, which is his final hole, started on the back 9. You can't play Shinnecock this week unless you're in the U.S. Open. That's just the deal. Or you can go to Swing Easy Golf Club. Go to Swing Easy Golf Club here in Baton Rouge, fire up the simulator, and you can tee it up at some of the greatest courses in the world. It doesn't matter that it rained 6 inches last night because it's inside. You get a personal bay. Looking for something to do this weekend when you knock off work on Friday or even on Saturday afternoon, get on by Swing Easy Golf Club. Bring some friends. Y'all crank up the turtle box, jam the tunes, put the U.S. Open or some World Cup on the TV, and play some golf. It's an awesome place to hang out and just enjoy some time. I was telling y'all last week when I was there, I was going to play 18 holes in like an hour and 5 minutes. If you don't have 5 hours to play golf and you'd like to play 18 holes, bring the whole bag to Swing Easy Golf Club. You hit every shot. You hit your tee shots. You hit your approach shots. You hit your chips. You hit your putts. You card a score. It's awesome. You can do that with your friends. You can do that by yourself. You can go to the driving range at Swing Easy Golf Club as well. Every single round you play, every single shot you hit is in those private bays. Comfortable seating, awesome televisions. They got cold beer there and seltzers as well. You can have a glass of wine if you're looking for one. Swing Easy Golf Club on Segan at Perkins. SwingEasyGCBR.com. All right, we had some Lane Kiffin sound at the top of the show talking about recruiting. He joined Tyrann Matthews' podcast, which incidentally is called In the Bayou. And Kiffin joined Tyrann, I thought had some interesting things to say, and I wanted to drill down a little bit deeper on some of those. And we'll start here talking about Sam Leavitt, because obviously Sam Leavitt's health, and then on top of that, his level of play is going to dictate a lot about what happens with this LSU team. You feel like they're pretty solid at a lot of positions across the board, but the play of the quarterback dictates so very much. And there have been times where Sam Leavitt has been awesome. There have been times where Sam Leavitt has not been very good, and then most recently there have been times where Sam Leavitt's not healthy. So the first step here is to get him healthy, and Lane Kiffin talked about where Sam Leavitt is.
He's doing well. He's been out there now and pretty much full strength now. Really good arm, really smart. I mean, he's in there just grinding all the time on stuff. NFL mindset quarterback from preparation standpoint. Now we just got to put everything together in year one. A little bit late because now he's just finally cleared now and a lot of new pieces around. So it's going to be a big summer and fall camp.
Big summer, I think, for Sam Leavitt. If he's able to go out there and work with some of those receivers, I think that's a big deal. It's not necessarily a huge deal for everybody. I know everybody will point to Joe Burrow and Chase and Jefferson, summer of 10,000 catches and all that. Not everybody's going to be Burrow and Chase and Jefferson, so to try to make those comparisons is probably a waste of time. But to have some time in the summer before you get into installations and into camp where things are a little bit more fast-paced is a really good thing. So the healthier he is more quickly, obviously, the better. Kiffin was asked by Tyrann, do you have to have a dual threat quarterback? And here's his answer.
Yeah, we don't need to run them very much, They can be throwers, which we prefer throwers that can get out of trouble. Because the game comes down to so many times that the play is not in rhythm, the guy's not open, or someone comes free. What does the quarterback do on third down? And can he find a way to make that guy miss, like what we just talked about, Trinidad and the Sugar Bowl in Georgia, and guys are coming free, and it's like we can do all this coaching, design, everything, but does the guy make the guy miss and make the play? And that's what we look for in a quarterback. That yes, we want them to be elite throwers, but they got to be able to move around. The old, at least for us, we don't want the old school, way back pro style. Sit there and can't move around with the big arm. They just don't make enough plays for you out of rhythm.
And I think that's completely fair. I mean, there aren't a lot of those around anymore. Everybody's got somebody back there that can move a little bit. Like Carson Beck got to the national final last year, and he's pretty much a statue. He's more athletic than the average person. He's far less athletic than the average quarterback. And he sat back there and chunked it around a little bit. But that's not the case for most, and Lane Kiffin's not going to recruit that guy to LSU. Joe was a guy that beat you with his arm, but he could make things happen with his leg, obviously, as well. And then Jaden here was another planet. But you got to have somebody that can move. And Sam Leavitt moves really well when he's healthy, and it sounds like he is. Another thing that can help a quarterback besides his legs, the legs of the guys that he hands the ball off to. And we spent a lot of time in spring football talking about Dylan Jones. You don't need to hear me say it, just hear Lane Kiffin talk about it.
I think Dylan Jones, running back that came here from Wisconsin. Now we haven't done tackling yet, and so there's still a lot into it, but really good feet and body control and really smooth runner. He was starting there and got hurt last year. And so not a big stat guy coming in, not much notoriety. We got a lot of portal guys that were highly ranked and all that. We've got obviously the quarterback, the left tackles, an unbelievable player. And everybody knows about Tradez and Whitweeks and TJ. So there's a lot of names they already know about. Yeah. But I think Dylan has got a real chance.
You could not have gone out to LSU's practice and come away with anything different. It was just very obvious when we went out to practice that he was making moves. And no, they weren't tackling ever, as he mentioned. And no, they weren't doing a lot that revealed a ton on the ground. They tried in some thud drills to simulate some inside run drills, but we understood what we were watching. It was a bunch of guys that didn't have leg pads on and nobody was being taken to the ground. But Jones was still making some plays in those drills. He was going through drills first. He looks a little bit different than the rest of the backs. It was just very obvious. That's not one that I'm going to pat myself on the back here. It was just very obvious. We went to camp that Dylan Jones is going to make some things happen, and I expect to see more of that come August. Let's talk about another transfer and a guy that has gotten some significant notoriety in his position that Tyrann knows very well. It's Ty Benefield at safety.
I love having the great players around because they've already walked where these guys are trying to get to.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like Ty Benefield, I hope he came up earlier, as soon as I was thinking about you being here today, I said to Jeff Martin, I said, get Ty up here.
Yeah.
Because I think Ty's going to be one of those legends to play here.
Yeah.
You know, he's wired right.
Oh, man, he got some good
unbelievable
size,
range.
too. Great size. Yeah.
2.5. Like, great
fit
ball
the bill.
skills. And I'm like, you got to get him up here to meet you.
And look, I'm not going to go as far as say he's going to be a legend at LSU. I think that was a little bit of hyperbole. But when you talk about going out to practice and seeing guys for the first time, he stood out. The same way, different build, very different build, but my reaction to seeing him the first time was similar to when I saw A.J. Halsey the first time. And I saw A.J. Halsey and I went, okay, I seen the stat sheet, which tells me he makes a ton of tackles. He gets his hands on the ball for interceptions. He's done that at 2 different places. What does he look like when I go, oh, he's built like a truck. Okay, that's gonna work. That was my thought of A.J. Halsey the first time I saw him. And keep in mind, A.J. Halsey was not here for spring last year. He got here in the summer and was only here for fall. So the first time I saw him was in the indoor facility the first day of fall camp. Benefield had all the stats at Boise, tons of tackles, all conference honors, interceptions. And then you go out to the first day of spring ball, and I see Ty Benefield. I'm like, oh, yeah, he's the tallest guy out there. He's filled out. He moves really well. Like, that's going to work. And Lane Kiffin has very much echoed that and has said things similar to that in press conferences previously. And they feel Ty Benefield could be the best player on the defense. I don't think that's a mouthful. Like, Whit Weeks has been awesome. TJ Dottery led the SEC in tackles last year. Prince William Onmielen has been a sack machine at Ole Miss. DJ Pickett's a 5-star recruit that's going to be a heck of a player for LSU this year. You could see the best player on the defense being Ty Benefield, and I think that's a not an outlandish thing to say. And obviously Lane Kiffin kind of feels the same way. And this is the last quote that I wanted to play. It's a little bit longer, almost a minute, but it's a powerful topic of conversation that we can't really know. I can know what safety's really good. I can know how LSU's doing in recruiting. I can know whether or not LSU's winning or losing games. I can't tell how money changes players. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not at practice for that long. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors in meeting rooms. This is something that Lane Kiffin can know that I just can't know how money changes players. And Tyron asked him that.
You need to evaluate, can the kid handle money? Because you've seen this.
Yes.
In the NFL, all of a sudden they get money and some first-round pick that they can't handle everything that goes with that. They're not mature enough, and then they're sidetracked and they're not focused. Yeah. Well, now you got to figure out, can a 17-year-old handle money the way NIL's set up now, and are they still going to have the drive that we want them to have? I love that they make money. I do think it's got a little bit out of whack, because my concern is this. If kids nowadays, just like kind of the rich kid syndrome, the kid that has everything, if kids nowadays at 17 get all this and they got the cars and they got the money and they're in houses. I mean, these kids now are in the houses that the coaches are in, neighborhoods,
right?
Yeah, that's good in some ways, but does that lessen their drive? It's like, now I got what part I was chasing for, because some people chase the NFL for like that drive, that competitiveness to be the best, and some chase it for the money and what it brings. Well, if they're already getting that, I don't know that that's all good.
It's interesting, right? And look, I can't speak to this out of, from a firsthand perspective, but I can speculate on it, right? Like a college kid who's, call it 21, you give that kid $1.8 million, and a 21-year-old thinks $1.8 million is just an outrageous amount of money. And for a 21-year-old, $1.8 million is a ton of money, right? But when you realize that he's going to live 60 more years, it's not that much money. And so if you allow $1.8 million at 21 to cut off your drive for the next 15 years of massive earning potential, you know what is a lot of money? $120 million. And that's what the great NFL players signed for. And if you let 1.8 get in the way of 140, now you've really screwed up. That's just my take on the situation. But it's really hard to convince a 21-year-old of that when they can go buy a house in cash, and they can go buy that car they've always wanted in cash. when they don't have to worry about checking the bank account if they want to go down to Miami for a weekend. Like, I understand it. I overdrafted every month in college. Every month I overdrafted. Didn't factor in the tips from the bar. Overdraft. Like, I don't know. No one gave me $1.8 million because I didn't do anything worthwhile in college. But it's an interesting thing how you're going to handle that. Because if you're reasonable and rational, which almost no 21, 22-year-old is, you realize how little money that is in the grand scheme of things. But is it going to take away from your drive to be the best you can be so you get to the NFL where you get a nice contract at the front end and then you get the real contract in year 4 or 5? It's interesting. And I don't know how you evaluate that in a 20-year-old. It's hard. But it's interesting, and it's just not something that we get firsthand knowledge of. Kiffin deals with it daily, just about, over there at LSU. So that's Lane Kiffin on Tyrann Matthews' podcast. Take a time out. Go back to the Saints. Kellen Moore with me yesterday. We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC. FabryChevrolet.com is the website. It's FabryChevrolet.com. The entire inventory is online at FabryChevrolet.com, and they've got some awesome deals on trucks in the month of June. 2026 Chevy Silverado, 0% APR financing for 36 months. Also a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500. Those are 2.9% financing for 72 months. Got to get it before the end of the month to make good on those deals, though. So go by and see them, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Also, if you're looking for a Chevy Trailblazer, maybe a Chevy Trax, as low as $30,000. So go see the inventory. It's online at FabryChevrolet.com. You can see every car they've got right there, whether it's new or pre-owned. And make that short drive to St. Francisville. Go see them at Highway 61. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $18,000 off MSRP plus 3.9% financing for 60 months. $18,000 off plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. I'm going to give you Sean Segura's cell phone number at the end of this read. So if you're in the market for some of the best beef in the country, get that phone out and get ready to get Sean's number, and you can give him a call. They've got unbelievable quality at Sagrera Farms, and this is not a guess. Again, last week they had a vet out to do some ultrasounding on the cattle there on the farm, and the standard for prime on beef is an 8 on the IMF scale, intramuscular fat scale. So if you're talking about 0, 2, 3, that's your select. That's the bottom of the barrel. Choice is like 60% of the beef out there. That's 3 to 8. Anything above 8 is considered prime. That's what you get at the finest steakhouses, right? Sean's got cattle on the farm right now that are grading 14, 15, 17 on that scale. Double prime in some cases. And I told you back earlier in the show that Supper Club got one of Sean's cows last week and said it was the best one they've ever gotten. Sean's got a process, and every cow is a 3-year process. It's genetically mated to create the finest in beef, and then it's a 3-year period. You've got raised on grass, finished on grain, dry-aged 45 days, and you get incredible, incredible consistency. The fillets, the ribeyes, the flank steaks, the skirt steaks, the picanhas, chuck roasts, briskets. It's all there. Ground beef, the best ground beef you'll ever have. We don't make burgers at the Palmer House unless it's with Sagrera Farms beef. My wife has made that decree. So if you're looking for some of the best beef in the country, you can get it just outside Baton Rouge. Call Sean, 225-719-1723. It's 225-719-1723. It will change the game on how you consume your beef. You can fill that freezer with a side, a quarter, a whole cow. Maybe you can split it. Father's Day's coming up this weekend. Call Sean. I don't know if you can get a cow in 3 days. It's a little bit of a longer process than that. But you can start that process for the dads in your life and make sure they are very, very happy the rest of the summer. It's grilling season. Only grill the best. Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. All right, let's transition to the New Orleans Saints. Kellen Moore met with the media yesterday to kind of put a bow on mandatory minicamp. Saints had great attendance. Seems like the roster's relatively healthy. You've got bumps and bruises at running back, Devin Neal, obviously, and then Kendre Miller is always in that boat, it appears. But a lot of good news coming out of the Saints, especially the signing of Cam Jordan, which we talked about at length the last 2 days. What I wanted to do was go through the other guys that are competing with Cam Jordan for playing time. And we'll start with Anthony Jennings, who the Saints brought in this offseason, and what makes him special.
Yeah, I think obviously strength, stoutness, physical play. I think he's got a really high IQ. You can tell he just processes the game in a very easy manner. I think what's cool is watching him just hop in there and try and find every opportunity he can to help this team. You know, I think the special teams component is kind of cool. Talked about that with Tyree yesterday. These guys are just trying to find roles and find opportunities, which is great. And, you know, he's played a whole bunch of games for a reason because he's a really consistent physical football player.
And I think he's going to have a role in this team. There may be a special teams aspect to it, as Kellen Moore said, but you've got Carl Granderson, who needs to step his game back up this year. You've got Chase Young, who I believe had an awesome year, and we'll talk about him in a second. But Anthony Jennings has played a lot of football in the National Football League and has done a really good job. And obviously you brought in Tyree Wilson as well, and that's a guy with immense talent that made him as high a draft pick as he was. And you bring in Cam Jordan, and you realize you want to keep him on something of a pitch count. And you got to make sure that you get those rotations right to keep guys fresh and create the best rotation, the best production that you possibly can. And Chase Young is a big part of that, and Kellen Moore talked about Chase Young yesterday.
Feel great about Chase. Feel like he's gotten better from my exposure being with him for the last year and a half now. Just the growth he's taken and just the preparation, the work ethic that he's shown through the offseason is really impressive. Like, this guy loves to work. He loves to work really hard. I think he's gotten better. You can see as the season went on, he just kept getting better, and I think this offseason has been a good indication of where he's going. The leadership that he's provided, the energy he provides, certainly, but he's just, he's looking like he's getting better each and every day. He's got to be a closer.
He's got to be a closer. He didn't have a chance to be a closer the first 2 months last year because the Saints weren't winning any games. But you're going to be, I believe, in a lot of close games this year. I think the Saints are a team that's likely to play a lot of very competitive games, and most teams in the NFL do. It's the most competitive league that we have. But he's got to be a closer when it comes to rushing the passer. He's got to be a game changer. He's got to be a difference maker. And I believe that he will be. He played great last year. The numbers in the production, just from a sacks perspective, weren't eye-popping, But if you watched him and then you look at the PFF grades and you see how he was impacting games, he had a huge impact. He's still very much in his prime. He's not an old player, and he's got to be awesome for this team. And look, you're talking about a guy that Kellen Moore sees a different attitude in.
I think when you have a successful season and you kind of are building, confidence comes from that, and I think you can sense that from Chase. And I think also when Cam wasn't around, there's an expectation of there's a leadership void there, and for Chase, for Grando, for Chris Rumpf, these guys who've kind of been here to help lead that group, I think is an important part.
He's a key cog to this thing. We don't talk a lot about Chase Young because he kind of is a constant, and we know that it's not really a question mark on the roster. It's like, who's your best pass rusher? Chase Young. Who's your starter at right end? Chase Young. Okay, well, we got that. There are question marks at what the running back rotation looks like beyond Achane. There are questions at how much they're going to use the tight end. There are questions at what Jordan Tyson is at wide receiver, what Tyler Shuck develops into. Can the interior of the offensive line play better? Are your tackles going to grow up? There are questions on the defensive side. What's going to happen at star? Do you have enough depth at corner? Do you replace Damari Davis? There are so many questions for us to talk about. Do we talk about all those? We don't talk about Chase Young because he is what he is. But he's one of the most important players on the team. He's got to be awesome this year. He's got to be a Pro Bowl player for the Saints this year. And the feeling is that he's working certainly in that direction for New Orleans. Now, as far as a bigger discussion, 11 on 11 is something that Kellen Moore wants to do more of in this offseason. He felt like, and look, it was his first season last year. He felt like they didn't do enough last year, and he mentioned doing more 11 on 11 this time around.
I think part of it is getting yourself acclimated for what you're going to be asked to do in training camp. So, really OTAs is a build into training camp. And so we kind of talked about, we have to learn how to walk through the right way. We have to learn how to practice the right way. And then eventually we have to learn how to operate in a team setting and protect ourselves as teammates as we kind of go through that. And so I think that was an important part as we kind of continue to build this thing. And so early was installation, a lot of more jog through settings as you guys saw in the post practice or the late part of practice. And, we just kind of kept stacking. And so the last few days we've been able to incorporate more of the team stuff. And pre-snap penalties, we got to be cleaner. We got to get ready to practice because we don't practice that way a whole lot, and get the team involved because the O-line, D-line, they kind of, without that team component, they're essentially an individual most of the day.
Look, I didn't have, and y'all may feel differently. I doubt you do, but you may. I didn't have any questions whether or not Kellen Moore could call an offense last year. Like, they didn't have a great offense because they didn't have a great team. But Kellen Moore can call plays on a Sunday. Kellen Moore can put together a game plan. He won a Super Bowl doing that as a game planner and play caller in Philadelphia. He had a lot of success in Dallas. That was never a question. But there's a difference in being the offensive coordinator and game planning and calling plays and helping run an organization and getting a team prepared to play in the fall. And that was the first time he had ever gotten a chance to run point on that last year. And so you would imagine he would have learned from that and potentially could do things a little bit differently this year. Maybe he liked exactly what they did, but maybe he would do things differently this year. And they asked if Kellen Moore felt like there wasn't enough 11 on 11 last year.
Yeah, it has more to do with this being year two. Flow, operation, a ton of installation last offseason with a new staff, obviously, and everyone teaming together. And so this year I felt like we're in a much better place and ready to get into an 11 on 11 setting.
I think Kellen Moore's a good coach. I don't think anything was earth-shattering last year. I think it's a credit to him that at the end of the season with the rookie quarterback, that while he was one of the worst teams in the NFL, was beating the other bad teams in the NFL. You have to start somewhere. I did not expect Kellen Moore to beat Seattle and Buffalo last year. Okay? Not a requirement. But you need to beat Tennessee. You need to beat the Giants. That's what you need to do. And they did. So I think that what you saw from him last year was a positive. I think he sounds like a guy who's in control of what he's trying to do. I think he's learning on the job. And the beauty of it is, it's not a pressure cooker right now. Last year certainly wasn't a pressure cooker, and there's more expectation in the Saints fan base this year than there was last year. They're certainly not nationally, but it's not a pressure cooker right now. Learn on the job. Make adjustments when you feel like you've made a mistake. He made some mistakes last year early in the season. Didn't call some timeouts before halftime. I hated some of his halftime answers last year that didn't feel like he had a feel for what was going on. You didn't hear any of that later in the season. He's learning. And that's the beauty of coming into a situation where there's no expectation, is you are allowed to learn. You are allowed to stub your toe. And maybe this year, along those lines, he's thinking, okay, we can be a little bit more physical this year. We can get more guys on the practice field this year. Instead of 7-on-7s and positional drills, individual drills, we can do more 11-on-11, and we can get more ready for the season to come. So I like Kellen Moore right now. He's not the most exciting soundbite in the world. Not going to knock your socks off on camera, but I think he's in control of what's going on, and I think things are moving in the right direction for the Black and Gold. So thought this was a positive week for the Saints for mandatory minicamp as well as Cam Jordan signing. So we'll kind of put that in the rearview mirror, get to more Saints discussion coming up tomorrow and certainly next week as well. We'll come back and close out the show next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
I love telling you about my good friends over at Marucci. Go take a tour. Go take a tour of Marucci. It's the official bat of Major League Baseball. If you go by and take a tour, you'll learn why they're official bat of Major League Baseball. You'll learn the process behind the best bat in the world. The best players in the world swing Marucci's. And they're all made right here in Baton Rouge. $1,200 a day shipped off to Major League Baseball. Go take a tour. Learn the story of how they went from a shed 22 years ago to the premier bat in the market. If you're looking to swing the bats, you can do that in the hitter's house. Youth baseball player, youth softball player in your house wants to become a member. Get that key card access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. After mom and dad get home from work, you can head up to Marucci. Before work, Marucci. Lunchtime, Marucci. Dark outside, Marucci. You can go swing the bat if it's raining, which it does a lot here in the summer if you haven't noticed. Go take a tour. Go swing the sticks in the hitter's house. Check them out online at MarucciSports.com. That's my friends at Marucci.
Bayou Ford is taking $12,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks, plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer, we know you deserve value when you purchase equipment. Right now, take advantage of the powerful 3025E tractor for just $297 a month. With 0% financing for 72 months. Tractor packages with a trailer also available. Whether you're tackling land, property, or projects, get your job done. Don't wait. This offer ends June 30th, 2026. Some restrictions apply. Visit sunequip.com or stop by a Sunshine location today.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no two cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Winding things down here on a Thursday, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Jordan, I didn't get a chance to watch the College World Series last night. I'm assuming that Georgia handled Oklahoma, right?
No, I was actually watching it for once. No, Oklahoma. No, man. No, man. Oh, I'll be real. So I tapped in. Oklahoma, I didn't know that these two brothers as pitchers or whatever.
Yeah,
these
they're not
guys
pitchers.
the other
infielders.
These guys are nasty, man. Oklahoma.
Oklahoma's brothers. Yes,
Oklahoma
the Mercurius brothers.
Yeah,
I
those
thought you were
guys.
talking about the Branch brothers who high-fived after the home.
I saw that too. You know, I like the little moment, but I'm talking about, Oklahoma. The
Mercurius brothers.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
Second year in a row they've had brothers. Last year they had the Witherspoon brothers.
Okay.
You had Kyson Witherspoon and Malachi Witherspoon. And this year you've got LJ Mercurius and Xander Mercurius.
Yes.
So, back-to-back years brothers. Yeah, I watched every pitch. It was incredible last night. Oklahoma.
It's nice, man.
they're just playing out of their minds.
Yeah.
I mean, they're hitting home runs by the truckload, which they didn't do all year. Their pitchers are dominating. The 3 freshmen they sent out there are dominating. Third baseman making sick backhand plays. Camden Johnson, unbelievable. They're making leaping catches at the warning track. Like, they are out of their minds. Like, Little Rock was out of its mind at the box last year, making diving catches in center field and hitting home runs, and Angel Cano going nuts. And, they were out of their minds, but they didn't have great players. Oklahoma's got talented dudes, and they're out of their minds. So that is this times 5. And they just boat raced everybody. I mean, just absolutely dominated. And, y'all are tweeting at me. I get it. Yeah, I don't, apologize 1 second for suggesting that a team that finished 11th in the SEC at 14-16 and lost his last 4 series is some sort of juggernaut. I did not see that coming. But you can't watch them play and suggest anything other than they are just on a raging heater. And the fact of the matter is that this is something I'm going to file away. Because while we do see championship teams at LSU, like last year in 23, that really don't hit a ton of adversity and really play great all year long, you don't have to play great all year long to be a championship team in college baseball. You do in college football. You have to play great all year. You don't in baseball. You can just get in and find a way. And they beat Georgia Tech, who was awesome, and they beat Georgia, who was awesome, and now they got to play North Carolina, who is awesome. And if they do it, they will have absolutely earned it. They did not have a great season. 14-16, losing your last 4 SEC series, losing 5 out of 10 SEC series is not great. And their pitching has been flipped from what it was when they came to Baton Rouge, where they sent LJ Mercurius and Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson hadn't thrown a pitch, but they're great now. They've been awesome for a week, and I kept picking against them. I'll give you my championship series pick tomorrow, but I've been picking against them, and they haven't really cared. Impressive stuff. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so the Knicks championship parade is taking over New York City, but a lot of Knicks fans were very disappointed this morning because at 7:30, NYPD said no more fans are allowed as it reached peak capacity. Oh my God, I cannot speak
capacity?
Right. Capacity at 6 a.m. So, standing outside around 3 a.m., 4 a.m. for a championship parade, take it or leave it.
I'm going to leave it, but look.
Leave it alone.
It's a big deal. The Cubs had 5-6 million people at theirs. It was one of the largest gatherings in human history, literally. I don't know how you come up with that number, but they did.
Count that.
Manhattan is landlocked in there, and so it's a little bit tougher, and the Cubs parade was far more expansive than the little 10 blocks they did, so just didn't have the room to do that. You can't. There's buildings everywhere. You can't see from anywhere if you're not right there. So it's just a different setting. But yeah, I mean, this means a lot to people of New York, and I'm not going to tell them not to go to the parade. It's a big deal, long time coming, especially if you're a Nets, Mets, Jets fan, and you got nothing from the Jets since Joe Namath, and you got nothing from the Mets since the Miracle Mets, and you got nothing from the Knicks since the 70s. It's been a minute. Get out there to the parade if you want to.
All right, so speaking of the parade, Knicks guard Tyler Kolek, while celebrating the Knicks championship in the parade, was stopped by NYPD thinking he was a random fan that joined the festivities. So is NYPD not real Knicks fans? Take it or leave it.
I mean, take it. You never know. Blake Groupie had trouble getting in the Superdome. He's like, I'm on the team, guys. I'm the kicker. It's tough. It's tough out there when you're not 6'9". And look, Tyler Kolek's not 6'9". So it's It happens. You just got to show the badge and keep rolling. Just keep the drinks flowing. It'll be fine.
Right. So, do you feel like kind of disrespected if you're him a little bit, or you just got to keep it pushing?
How many? There's 1.5 million people there, and
Yeah.
you got a lot of people doing things they're not
Yeah,
supposed to be
and you're
doing.
in
I'm
New
sure
York,
they
so
got
it's
one
crazy.
guy hanging in a tree. Like, if they want to stop you and say, "Hey, what's the deal?" and you go, "I'm good," that's fine. Just keep on going. As long as they didn't detain him or anything,
Yeah.
it's fine.
We got arrested. They arrested a Knicks player.
Yeah.
All right, so Coors Light is launching a limited edition 18-inch Taller Boy canister that holds and insulates 3 stacked 12-ounce cans of beer. The Taller Boy is a part of the Coors Light 2026 FIFA World Cup themed campaign. So, Taller Boy canisters, take it or leave it.
Take it. I mean, I'm all about different avenues to get the job done, but like,
those 3 of them.
I'm thinking about 3 beers. If they're selling that at the World Cup, that's a $50 purchase.
Ooh.
I mean,
yeah,
it's
plus
got
the canister.
It's got to be $50. I mean, my wife got a cocktail at the Sphere in Vegas for $50. Your
you told me about that.
Yeah,
Yes,
your
you did,
beers at
yes.
the Dome are $13. If you're telling me you're getting 3 of them,
don't get me
and
started about
that's
that.
gonna, and it's at the World Cup, which is going to be gouging prices anyway, because you got people from all over the world who are just here, and they're
souvenir.
here, they're going to get it. Yeah, that's a $50 drink right there.
$50 drink.
3 beers.
3 beers.
I used to be able in college.
Okay, let me hear this.
Freshman and sophomore year, Jarvis Green's Purple and Gold Liquor Store used to be able to get a flat of Keystone Light that was 24 16-ounce beers.
Wow.
For $9.
That should be
24
illegal.
16
That should
ounces.
be illegal.
Well, it is now.
Yeah, I'm about to say no way.
Now you can't get my son got a foam finger from the bookstore that was more expensive than that. It was like $14. So those are the days you could get essentially 32 12-ounce beers for $9.
nothing. For literally nothing at all.
I spent a lot of time at the Southgate Towers pool with the flat of Keystone.
Don't blame you at all.
Not a lot of time at econ class. That's all right.
That's it for take it or leave it.
They let me out. That's it for us on a Thursday. Brought to you by Segura Farms Premium Angus Beef. Appreciate y'all for hanging out with us. If you missed any of the show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further View. I'm going to go watch some golf. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place.
The Hunt Palmer Show. Before
we get out of here, I'm going to remind you about my friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com. The website's awesome. Go to FabryChevrolet.com. You can see the entire inventory, and you can sort by whatever you're looking for. If you want a new vehicle, sort by new. If you want a pre-owned vehicle, click pre-owned. They're all there. If you're just looking for a make or model, not sure if you want new or pre-owned, search by make and model. You can do that. Maybe you've got a budget in mind. That's the hard cap. Search by price. Maybe you've determined that mileage is important to you. You can search by mileage as well. No matter what it is you're looking for, you can sort on the website by those specifications. That's one of the customer service perks of dealing with Fabry Chevrolet GMC. And then when you go to Highway 61 in St. Francisville, you'll see the difference. The people there are fantastic. The Fabry family makes sure of it. That's why they've been in business for 35 years doing things the way that they've done them. So if you're looking for a new Chevy Silverado, looking for a pre-owned Chevy Silverado, Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Maybe a Denali or a Yukon. They got it there as well. Go see them in St. Francisville. Fabry Chevrolet GMC.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect